Hey guys, what's going on? Today, I'm adding Apple Carplay and Android Auto to my Audi A3. So why do I have to add that in to my Audi A3? Well, from factory, this particular model didn't come with any of that functionality. Mine is a pre-facelift 8V S3, which means it was made between about 2013 or 2014 and 2016. The facelift model that started in 2017 is when they started incorporating the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in the factory systems. So I kind of lucked out on that one, but it's the car that I ended up with. So in order to add that in, what we're doing is effectively hijacking the signal that already runs from the CD or DVD player, whatever it is, in the glove box, and runs into the multimedia system on the top of the dash. So this kit came from AliExpress. It was only a couple of $100s. I've seen very wide-ranging prices for these kinds of kits. I just took a guess with the system that I think looked like the most reliable and sort of came with everything that I needed. So it comes with a bunch of wiring harnesses. The only extra thing that I needed to purchase was a set of these stereo removal keys. And these were just a couple of dollars from, again, AliExpress. And that is to remove the CD or DVD player in the glove box. Or you could make your own. I've seen some people make their own, but I just wanted to get it right the first time. So what I'm going to do is have a bit of an unboxing, show you guys what came in the box with the whole system, all the wiring harnesses. There's some instructions and that sort of stuff inside, I hope, as well. Then we're going to pull out the CD, DVD player with these and undo the factory wiring harness, insert the new wiring harness in the back of that, and then run that to the factory multimedia system up on top of the dash. Let's go check it out. Alrighty, so let's have a look inside the box. So Smart CarPlay module interface. Okay, user manual. Phone connection. So here's the actual module itself. Looks fairly straightforward. So there's a few inputs and a toggle switch here. So we'll have a look at the instructions as to what to set that toggle switch to. There's a whole bunch of stuff inside here. Wow. So this looks to be the auxiliary audio input. So we plug this into the auxiliary input in the center console, but we don't actually have to plug anything into this, I think. I think it's just a way of telling the system that there is something else plugged in. And this gives you the extra functionality for if you want to have, say, a dash cam, front camera in, reverse camera in. These look like the electrical connections to power those extra cameras. Okay, that's cool. That's good to know. I probably won't be using those, at least not yet. I'm thinking I may eventually install a forward-facing dash cam. And if so, I will probably use this system to hook it all up. But we'll come back to that another time. We don't need that right now. Now look at this one. This looks to be the main connector that would sit in the back of the factory disc player. So we're essentially unplugging these from each other in the back of the car at the moment and putting one of these that way, one of these that way, and intercepting the signal with this. So that's cool. That's the main CAN power cable. Doesn't seem to be a label on that one, but I think that's going to be the GPS antenna. And here we have, I don't actually know. Oh, the LVDS connector. Cool, pretty straightforward. So yeah, everything is color-coded with the factory colors, I believe. And everything is labeled quite clearly. The only thing being this one, but like I said, I'm pretty sure that's a GPS module. I'll come back to that though. So there you go. That's actually quite a lot of kit for not much money. I'm quite impressed so far. So now we're in the car. And this is the glove box, obviously. So we open the glove box. Inside here is the original factory media unit. So this is what we're going to be replacing. Well, not replacing, that's what we have to take out to access the cables behind it. Now we take our trusty, cheap, flexible key, which I have no faith in, but we'll give it a go. So there's these two little slits, one up here and one over here. So they go flat side out. So push that one in there, and you have to push quite hard until you hear that click, and then we'll put the other one in on this side, same sort of thing. I think that went in, so let's, no, got to pull both at the same time. Aha, oh, that was easy. Wow. Okay, so that is our factory multimedia unit, or CD player is what I've been calling it. But yeah, as you can see, you can put some SD cards in, or a CD, or maybe a DVD, I think. I assume that it's a DVD player as well, but I've never used a DVD in it. So now we have to undo all of these cables at the back. And once we have those free, this can get put aside for 1 minute, and then we plug our new module connector into all of these. So let's go ahead and get these undone first. All these connectors seem to have locking tabs on them. There's one there. This white one has one on the bottom side. So I assume I'm going to have to pull that up and pull at the same time. I might have to put the camera down. So we're going to have to be pretty careful with it. See how we go with the next one. Cool, sorry about the camera. Okay, yellow one. Ah, okay. That's where we have to take this one out. There we go. Okay, yellow one's out. Grey one's going to be the same. Cool, we're getting there. Now we're onto the main big black connector, which is scaring me because I don't know how to undo it. Does that whole thing rotate off? Yep, there we go. So it looks like that's a lock. And pull it out. Yeah, there we go. Haha! That's awesome. Okay, and then lucky last. Can't see anything. Oh, there we go, on the outside edge. Here. Looks like there's a little locking tab there. Okay, and then lever it up. There we go. Nice! That is one Audi A3 multimedia system removed. So now let's go and get the new module and get that wired in. So first things first, for the instruction manual, you may not be able to read this, but it's telling me to set the toggle switch to the right model. So this basically, how I've got this set, is telling it that this is for a 2013 to 2016 A3/S3 with the 7-inch screen, which is what mine has. So here's a couple of things I've done. That is just the main power connector plugged in here. And these two connectors look like the main power connectors in the back of the OEM unit, so that kind of makes sense. Then we've got here, this, it turns out, is the Wi-Fi antenna. So obviously this unit communicates via Wi-Fi, so that's pretty cool. That just simply plugs into there. Then we're going to plug in the LVDS connector here. Not sure if I can do this while I'm holding the camera, but I'll give it a go. Oh yeah, there we go. That's pretty straightforward. Turn that one down there as well. So there's only one more, and that is the video input cable. So that is for, I guess, your external cameras. So this one goes there. There we go. And so that was literally, 60 seconds or so to take care of all of that. So pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead, get all this connected into the car now. Okay, so we're back in the car. We have a giant tangle of cables, which looks fun. So now we can plug this one in there. No. Okay, so that was my bad. I forgot I had to unlock this little lock on the back of this connector. So that should be good now. And then if I push correctly, there we go. So that one's locked into there. So the signal essentially comes out of that unit into this new module and then travels back up into here. So I've got to make sure that's back. Something like that. There we go. Good. Is it going to come out? It looks like it's going to come out. Okay, so I just didn't have it pressed in hard enough when I went to lock it in. So that's all connected there, nice and solid. So Wi-Fi antenna, I can just... It says not to leave on top of the actual interface. So I'm not going to, but just for now, I'll just stick it there so it's out of the way. Okay, LVDS. Let's tackle this one, because this one looks like the tricky one. So this is the middle of the Y, if you will. And the two cables come out of there. One end goes into the stereo, and the other end goes into the car. Now, so the last thing that I would normally have to consider would be this connector here. This is the video connector. So this is for, having other external video inputs. So things like a front dash cam, a reverse cam, that sort of stuff. I mean, I obviously already have a reverse camera in this car, so I'm hoping it will still work. But if I wanted to add extra cameras, this is how I would do it. I'm not doing that at the moment, so I don't need to worry about any of that, I think. But there is a USB cable hanging out of that as well. So really, at the moment, I'm doing nothing with that. I'm just going to let that hang free and then hopefully tuck this into the glove box so I have access to it. But really, I think I'm done. I think that's basically everything plugged in. I've got the toggle switch set correctly. Now, all that's really left to do is tuck everything back up into the abyss. All right, so just before I tuck everything away, I went ahead and plugged in the remaining 3 or 4 factory connectors into the OEM media system. It turns out they didn't all need to be removed. It was only a couple of them that needed to be removed and hijacked. I've plugged the rest back in. I've got this sitting here, and I thought I would try the whole system just before I tuck it away. So in theory, it should be ready to go. There we go. How good is that? It just uses the factory knob controls it. How good is that? Wow. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and hook up my phone to Android Auto. Alright, so that was super easy. That was wireless Android Auto set up straight off the bat, which is really cool. So we'll do this, we'll do this. Oh wow, straight into the map. Alrighty, so everything seems to be working with my phone except for the audio. So I've gone ahead and I've plugged in the little multimedia connector in here. So that has to be connected in there. And that's like a dummy plug, and it just tells it that there should be audio coming in. Previously, I was hooked up to my car system using Bluetooth. So I've now unpaired that. And now what I've got to do is change the source up there. So I'll click on source, and instead of Bluetooth, what we now want to pick is external audio player. And so that is now looking for the plug in there. So even though there's nothing there, that tells it that there's something to look for. And then the new system piggybacks on that signal and sends the audio into the car. So we'll pick external audio player, or aux, and now we should get some music. And so there you go. I don't know if I can turn that up, because I don't know if YouTube will flag it if I do, but we'll play for a second. So there you go. So that is now the audio coming through into the car. So that is working. That's awesome. And it actually sounds pretty good too. All right, so slight change of plans. I don't actually have enough room to fit the new Android box into the side section here without removing the glove box. So that's what I'm now going to do. There's only a few bolts holding it in, top, bottom. They look to be about a 10mm, so we're going to give it a go, and hopefully then we can tuck the box in either this side or that side. Okay, so it looks like it's an 8mm. Something else to unclip or what? Okay, so I've removed 2 screws from under the glove box, as well as 3 screws from the top of the glove box. This side plastic panel has to come out next, and there is an 8mm behind that as well. There we go. Alright, so that's the 3 across the top undone, the 2 under the bottom undone, this one in the side undone, and then there's one more 8mm bolt up in the back of the glove box here. I think that should be it, and then it should be good to pull the glove box out. This one's really annoying. And it turns out there's one more right at the back behind where the media player normally lives. Right up the back, I don't know if you can see it. But yeah, that looks like the last thing holding it on. There we go. Should just fall down now. Hopefully it doesn't fall, but you know what I mean. Okay, fingers crossed. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so this is what it looks like with the glove box dropped. So there isn't a whole lot of room above it. There is a little bit, but not much once this is back in place. So I think what I'm going to do is tuck the Wi-Fi antenna in behind here. There's a lot of space in behind this panel next to the climate control. So there's a ton of space there. I'll put the Wi-Fi antenna in there, And then what I might do is stick the box, the CarPlay Android Auto box on top of this section here, because once that goes up, that'll just be nestled nice and neatly against everything. It's this big gap here, so I think on this side of this panel would be pretty good for that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and unplug all of these cables again and get this positioned where I want it, and then I'll run the cables through the back of the glove box. I feel like I should have done this first. Would have been way easier to do all this in the top section the first time around, but here we are. You live and you learn, don't you? Let's do this again. CarPlay box. Wi-Fi antenna. That one has to go into the glove box, whereas the other end of that, the middle part of the Y section, has to go into the CarPlay box. Things like that, I'm just going to be careful about. And then really all that's left is the main power connector. So then really, this one can stay on top, because that goes into the CarPlay box, and then this big chunky fella can go down inside there as well. Okay, so I think that's everything in the right place. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look good, but as long as everything's in the right place. So we've got all of the CarPlay stuff on top, and then the power cable, the main power cable one. There we go. Audio ground. Not sure what that's for. That's not referenced anywhere. That is interesting. We're just going to forget about this little guy for right now. Alrighty, there you go. So that is all of the cables for the new CarPlay unit that need to be plugged into the CarPlay unit on top of the glove box, coming out the hole at the back here. So then all that's left to do is plug the original thing back in and fire it up for the last time, make sure it all still works, and if it does, Bob's your uncle, and we bolt everything back in place, and we're done. Fingers crossed, let's go. 2 more to go, and then the hardest one. Okay, that's the one out to slide in properly again. Hey, there we go. Oh, that's the disc player back in its home. Everything tucked up on top here, just kind of loosely for now, while I do one final test to make sure this all still works. Key not recognized. Key. Key's just over there. Media player is tucked away in there. CarPlay, Android Auto box is sitting there. I've started the car up. So I'm holding the button. There we go. So there we go across to Android Auto. There we go. So there you go. There's the Android Auto screen with all the apps. There you go. Very cool. So I'm just going to blow that out because that's got my address in there. Didn't quite think about that, but anyway, we'll deal with that in a second. Alright, so there you go. That's Spotify. I've got voice controls. And yeah, I'm controlling all of that with the original, MMI interface stuff here. So that's super cool. So I guess all that's left to do is to zip tie this all in place, and we'll get the glove box reinstalled and tucked away nice and neatly. There you go. Alright, now it's just a matter of putting all the bolts back in, and I think we're done. This one was stupidly hard. I guess I shouldn't have started on one side because I had this one, and this one done up. So this was all kind of being held up and the whole thing was sort of drooping that way. So it was really hard to push this one up and screw it in because it's such a short screw. There's not much thread that you can get in at the end. It's done, so the middle one should be a bit easier now. Yep, straight in. So much easier when it's all aligned properly. tighten this one. I don't know where the rest of the screws are. I am a screw loose. It was so much easier. That was a lot easier than I thought. So then the last piece is just this side panel for the glove box area. Pop them all back in. Nice. And there you go. That's what I like about this, is the fact that you would never know that that's even in there. It all looks completely stock. It's a normal glove box. The stereo still looks the same. Everything still looks the same. It's just a matter of just holding the media button down for 3 seconds activates it. But other than that, you'd never know. It's awesome. So I just wanted to quickly explain how I managed to get it to work, because when I first hooked it all up, it was working, but I couldn't connect to my phone and have my phone audio playing through the actual stereo, which obviously that's a pretty important part of one of these systems. The instructions, I kind of read the wrong way. If I had read them properly the first time, it would have made more sense. Okay, so just to recap, there's sort of 4 steps to getting your phone to work with this new Android Auto CarPlay box. Number 1 is unpair your Bluetooth from the car. Number 2 is pair your phone Bluetooth to the new box. Number 3 is plug this dummy cable into the MMI input here in the center console. And number 4 is change your audio input source in the MMI from what was probably Bluetooth before, if that's what you were using. Change that to now external audio player, or aux. The biggest thing I can suggest with this kind of thing is make sure you read the instructions, because look, I'll admit the instructions for this kit were actually pretty spot on. I didn't have to cut anything and solder anything or rewire anything myself. It all just worked with everything that was in that box. So yeah, after a quick look at that module, I can say that I pretty highly recommend it. The one that I thought I purchased was called Road Top. That was the one that I was looking at, and that is the one that I purchased off AliExpress. But then when the box came, it says on it, I don't know if you can see that, but it's called a 9 tom, which I've never heard of that. But the instructions that came in the box also still reference Road Top. So I'm actually not sure what brand I ended up getting, but it seems to work. Yeah, definitely go check it out. If you have any questions, drop me a message or leave a comment below, and I'll try and get back to any of you with whatever kind of help that I can. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.